Good morning. My name is Paul Church from Clarity Craft here in the UK. Welcome to another episode of Groovi Tuesday. I can see we have Clive already over on our YouTube page. Good morning, Clive. The lovely Jane Telford will be joining us very shortly, and she'll be there to help and point you in the right direction. I can see we've got some viewers coming in now. Hopefully the sound is nice and clear. I'm just waiting for everyone to pull up a chair. Good morning, lovely Glynis. Thank you very much for your Christmas card that arrived yesterday. Good morning, Jill. Joy from Nova Scotia in Canada. Merry Christmas indeed. I know it's just around the corner now, isn't it? Where are we now? So this time next week, it will be Christmas Eve. Yeah, how did that happen so quickly? I know it's the same every year, and 25th of December, nothing changes, does it? But sometimes all of a sudden it just creeps up on you. Well, it certainly has. It creeps up on me every year. Lastminute.com. So I hope everybody's well. I'm getting ready for the festive season. Good morning, Ken. There we go. Debbie from Australia. Okay, Jane, Josie. Jane, sound is all good. Thank you very much, Jane. There we go. Perfect. So as I say, the lovely design team are in the room to help you. If you've got any questions, then feel free to ask. And if there's anything that Jane feels that I've missed, then she'll send me a little text message, and I'll respond accordingly. So I've got my lovely coffee to get started this morning. It's rather sort of grey and drizzly, and it's quite fresh this morning. There was a lot of fog around down here in Kent that comes off the fields. So, and lots of deer running around as well. Last night going home on the journey home, which is only about 20-25 minutes, deer in 4 different places. So whether it was a full moon or not, I don't know, but they were definitely out on the roads last night. So yeah, what's the weather like with everybody? So we've got Ellen's in Norway. There we go. Everybody's coming in. Happy Christmas to everybody. Yes, indeed. There we go. Just takes a while. It really does. So I thought today, since it's the last episode of Groovi Tuesday for 2024, goodness me, where has the year gone? I thought what I'd have a look at. Last week we started working on one of Jazz's A4 sampler plates. So I thought, because we've got a sort of like a 2-week break between now and Christmas, I thought rather than sort of continue on that, I thought today I would share with you some different ways of attaching your parchment to your card. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways to share with you today on different ways that you can attach your finished piece of your finished piece of parchment to your card blank. And we're going to have a look at all different things. So we're going to start off with the easiest option, and then we'll just work through. And if there's any questions, because I know that okay, so Leslie, hi Paul from Australia. I'm trying to find the 3D Christmas tree. Where can I find the tutorial, please? Okay, now I covered this very briefly in one of our YouTube shows, and I think the show was called Midday Madness. Let me just have a look. I've got my iPad here, and I mean, Jane will probably beat me to it. Let me just come on, unlock. Nope, wants my PIN number. Right, let's have a look at, I want to go to YouTube. Right, let's have a look. Bear with me, but I'm sure I covered it on, say, it was the midnight. It felt like midnight. Right, YouTube. It's on a little bit of a go slow at the moment. Whilst, you get that lovely natural volume down. Let me have a look. There we go. So if I go to, where am I going? Let's go to clarity. No, this is me. I don't want to see me right at this moment. That's quite weird. I want to go to subscriptions, I think it is. Clarity. Right, Clarity Crafts. Bear with me. There we go. Popped in to say hello. I need to go out this morning, so we'll catch up later. Just check my Word document for my answers to find. Okay, right. I'm just going to find this for our friend in Australia. Get rid of that one. Let me have a look. I'm sure, as I say, I covered this. I reckon Jane will probably beat me to it. Josie seems to think there may also have been a blog over on the Clarity Matters. So maybe Josie wouldn't mind just having a little a little looky over on there. Let me just see if I can find it. I'm sure I did it. How far back was that? Where's that gone? I'm sure. I'm going well back now. Karen seems to think it could be the 29th of November. So Pat Coombs' sister Sally is watching and she's convinced this isn't live. This is live. The time now is 10:06 on Tuesday, the 17th of December. I can't think when so. Oh, right. I'm going to there we go. Sue Carpenter has found a Clarity Matters blog. There we go. And I'm sure somebody will post a link for the YouTube because I've got a lot to share with you in this hour. And I would say I thought today, since it's been the end of the year, then what we could do is have a look at different ways of attaching your parchment art using various different methods. Okay, and as I say, I've got 6 different trays lined up to share with you. Itchy arm. I wonder where that is. Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. There we go. We're giggling now. Thanks, Paul. You're welcome, Pat. Happy to oblige. Oh, goodness me. Do we have any newbies in the room today? Anybody tuning in for the first time or just recently come across Groovi and Clarity Crafts? I'm sure we have a few newbies in the room or have recently joined us. So, as I said, last week we made a start on a couple of plates designed by Jazz. And I thought, as I say, because we won't be back until, Groovi Tuesday won't be back until Tuesday the 7th of January. Goodness me. I'll tell you a story in a minute. It's one of those days today. Anyway, I thought what we'd do, I'm repeating myself, should we have a look at different ways of attaching parchment to your card? Okay, right. I'm going to put those over there. We'll come back to those if we need to. Now, the first and most easiest way of attaching your parchment to your card are brads. Okay, now many of you that have been doing parchment craft for many, many years may already know this, but what I thought I would do is during the course of this hour, if I show the 6 different ways that I've come up with, or not that I've come up with, that I know of, then what we can do is I can attach it to the product on the website as well. And what I'll do after this, Jane will very kindly remind me afterwards. I'm sure Jane could drop me an email for the Christmas tree. And what I'll do is I'll also drop it against the product on the website as well. Okay. So number 1, look, this is how organised I am. Number 1, brads. Okay, so I've got my little tray. So what I've done is I've got all these little lids. So number 1 is brad. So I've got my super foam. I've got a piece of my backing paper. And what you have to do is imagine that this is my completed pieces of artwork. Glynis said, Pete said he's new. New to what? I bet Pete could come and sit here and show our friends at home exactly how Groovi and parchment works. Okay, so I've got my, this is my completed piece of artwork. This is my backing paper, and I'm resting it on my super foam. I'm going to use my 1 needle bold, and then I have my selection of brads. So I've got mine in my little storage, like so. Okay, there we go. So I've got those just on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach to the paper. Okay, so okay. So now, what colours do I want to go for? We have a selection of colours. We've got gold, silver, black, white, pastel. Then we've got antique, silver, and pewter. So just to make it nice and easy, I'm going to go with black. So I'm going to take 4 of my little brads out of their storage container, like so. Okay. And then I'm going to line my parchment up where I need it to be. Then take my 1 needle bold, like so, position my parchment, and then I'm going to perforate with the 1 needle bold tool. Okay. I'm going to remove the tool, and then I'm going to press my brad into the hole that I've made, like so. And what I'm going to do, the foam is now going to hold it in place. I'm going to come over to the diagonal corner, like so, perforate again, and then press my brad into place. That's held nice and secure. And now I'm going to go into the corner up here. You can give it a little wiggle, like so. And that then goes in there. Okay, and then the 4th corner. See, now when we looked at some artwork in the past, you would have found that some of the designs here, who was I on with the other day? With Jazz. When I was on the other Jazz, and we were looking at some artwork, and sometimes you didn't realize, you didn't realize that the brads were actually in place, holding it. So now I'm going to gently lift it away from the super foam. I'm going to flip it over to the back. Let's come in on this camera. Where am I going? There we go. So you can see there, I've got that. So then I'm going to open up the legs on the brad. Now, if you've gone right up to the corner, what you can do is turn them at a right angle, like so. Then that one's going to go there. Now, Jane's got a lovely little technique for squidging these. Then that one, where am I going? Over here, like so. And then the final one in that corner goes like that. So now you can see we've got all our pieces folded over, and I put them all at a right angle. And then all you need is something flat, and then you can press down and give them a little squidging. That's a technical term, a squidging. And then what that does, it makes them nice and flat for when you come to then attach it onto. Wow, that's a bit drastic. Glynis, oh, Glynis, that's made me chuckle. Glynis, I can just see Glynis. She says she uses a hammer. I reckon she's got like some sledgehammer, and she gives it a good old whack. Oh dear. So you could use maybe a little hammer. Maybe you can get a little crafty hammer and do that as well. I was going to say, how big is your hammer, Guinness? Okay, so that is, I'm going to come in on this one because it goes up. So that's one way, the quickest and easiest way of attaching your parchment. Okay, nice and easy. And we've got the brads in 7 different colors. You've got the little storage pot, and in each of those little packs, you're going to get 40 brads. So if you can use 1 in each corner, each pack, if you're going to do that, will be great for 10 cards. Okay, so that's number 1. That's nice and easy. Okay, number 2, corner punches. Okay, so back in the day when we first introduced Groovi, we had the idea of using corner punches to attach because we didn't have the brads. I don't think we had the brads back then. So if I come on the overhead, we've got a set of, let me show you on this actually, we've got a set of 5 different corner punches. They all have decorative corners to them. And they're not only for your parchment, you can use them for your everyday card making as well. And what they do is they create these little photo corners. Now you've got a straight, you've got sort of like a flowery one. I just noticed I didn't put them, did I put them in numerical order? No, I didn't. I thought I'd put them in numerical order. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So on the overhead, you can see here, you've got a straight line, you've got a curved line, then you've got like a flower. Then this one here, guys in the office here call this the Batman corner. And then you've got sort of like a scalloped corner. Okay, so you've got 5 different options to choose for. Maybe you don't want to take away from the design of your parchment and you want to go just for a sort of like a nice straight line as well. Now, there's no, when you're each of them, I don't know if you can see, but see this black piece that it's matted onto? This one is thicker than this one, and they all have different thicknesses. So I can't say to you, if this was a 4x4 piece of white card, then your base card would need to be, say, 4 1/4 or 4 1/2, because they are all different. But this is where you use your craft knife and your ruler or a pencil and a paper trimmer to complete your layers. Okay, so corner number 2, corner punches. Now the other thing with our corner punches, that they're not just corners. You can then use them to create decorative borders as well. So I'm going to show you that as well. Okay. Maggie Craner says, you used to get trays of hard toffee at this time of year. It came with a nice little hammer to break the toffee into suitable tiny pieces to suck. I reckon those hammers would be perfect to flatten their brads. I reckon they would indeed. Any excuse to go out and buy sweets or chocolates, and a bonus, it's got a hammer. So, just had a text from Barb. She says to say hi to everybody. She forgot it was Groovi Tuesday. So, but she says to say hello to everybody. Okay, so where do we get started with our punches? So let's have a look. I'm going to bring in, there's a couple of tricks because I'm going to show them as a corner and I'm going to show them as a border. So I've got my blue cutting mat here and I have a piece of backing paper. This is 8x8, really steady. And what I've done, I've taken a piece of parchment and it is 4 inches by 4 inches. Now I'm going to come in on this one here. So now I need to decide which corner I want to go for. I'm going to go for the lovely flower one. So the item number for this one is 40198. Okay, really nice and decorative, perfect for just if you're into your scrapbooking, then it's great for that as well. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my piece of paper. Let's have a look. I'm going that way. Take my piece of paper and I'm going to push into the corner. And then once I push, I'm just going to press down. and you get a lovely, can you hear that crunch when I did that? So that is corner number 1. Okay, now you have choices. You could take your finished piece of artwork and you can pop it under that corner and then use your craft knife and ruler. Or if you don't feel happy doing that, you could take a piece of copy paper, exactly the same size, and use that as your template. Okay, now because I haven't got anything on this piece of artwork, I'm okay doing this. So what I'm going to do, I'm now pushing my parchment into that corner. I'm going to take my ruler with my Groovi grip on, and I reckon that it's probably this little gap around the outside, this little edge, is probably the same width as the steel edge on the ruler. Okay, now if you're doing, for example, pieces of artwork that are always 4x4 or always 5x5, then what you could do is once you've created your backing, you could create a template so that you know exactly how big a piece of paper is, and you can do this automatically without thinking about it. So my parchment is in place. I'm going to take my steel edge ruler. I'm using the grid lines on my ruler. Let's see if I can come in on the overhead. I'm using my grid lines to make sure that it's nice and straight. I'm going to take my craft knife and then trim down my paper. Okay. Then I'm going to turn round like so. Make sure my parchment is still in place. Line up again like so. Okay. There we go. And then I would always suggest, if you're using the corner punches for the first time, don't use your lovely backing paper. Try it out on a piece of copy paper first. Okay, so I've now got, so I reckon that's a bit small now. I don't know, might be lucky. Okay, so put my lid back onto my craft knife. Then I'm going to take my corner punch, press into that corner and crunch. Go round and then do all 4 sides. Okay, so moment of truth. That goes in there. That slides onto there. That goes onto that one. And that goes onto that one. So now I have my perfect frame in which to attach my parchment with no glues. If I want to, this one's perfect for a little brad in the corner. So let me bring that up so you can see that. Now, if you find that the parchment is buckling a tiny, incy little bit, then just take your paper trimmer and just trim your parchment a fraction. Okay, so that's one way of using the corner punches to attach your parchment. And then obviously you pop that onto another card, and then you can see you've got your lovely image. Okay, so one way. Now, remember I said to you about how you could turn them into a decorative border. So another way of attaching your parchment, rather than in the corners, I'm going to go for this one here now. So let's pop that over to one side. Okay, and let me just, obviously you'll notice that there's no mess on the desk because everything is captured underneath in this little drawer. And in order to empty that little drawer, let me come in over here. What you need to do, see, it's like a little chevron, little triangle. All you're going to do is press down and slide. And what happens is that slides out completely, allows you then to empty your punch into your bin rather than on the floor. And then this, you can see, if I hold that there, you can see some little slots just on the side. They then slot back into place, clicks, and then it's good to go. Okay, but what I need to do in order to use it as a border is I need to remove this element. Okay, now I'm going to use the same piece of parchment, which is 4x4, like so. So let's take that out of there. Oh, and this was another thing. When we used to do our companion papers double-sided, Jane worked out, when we're going over here, that see how you got that corner there? If I turn that over, you then get the reverse colour. So that's quite lovely with just the white. But when we did our original companion papers, it would have a different colour on the back. So you could either use that as your front, or you could turn it over and then take your parchment like so and pop it underneath as well. Okay, so lots of different options. Okay, so in order, what I want to do now, in order to create a border, I've taken a piece of paper like so. So this was 4 inches, and my backing paper, just to give you an idea, is 4.5 inches square. Then what I've done, I found the middle of the paper and just drawn a pencil line. Okay. And to be honest with you, when I do this for the first time, I use copy paper and I create my template. And if I know it works on my copy paper, then I will keep this and then use it as my template going forward, so that I haven't got to go through the whole process again. Right, so this camera here. So now that I've taken the backing off of my punch, the lovely little corner, I'm going to have a slurp of coffee. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this on the, I might try this on the overhead, but it might go a little bit blurry. I've got my pencil line. I'm going to stand up for this. No, actually, I reckon it's going to be better on this one. Hang on. So if I come in here, where am I going? What I want to do, can you see where the beginning of the design starts? This edge here. Okay, so this point here, this needs to line up with my pencil line. So I take that, and because I can see through the punch, I can move it along, and I've just caught the pencil line. So then I'm going to punch, I'm going to slide along like so. So I'm just catching the aperture. I wonder if I can come in on this one. I don't know whether it will go out of focus. I've just caught the edge like so. So you can see now how I've created that continuation. Move it along again. And do that. So now what I can do is repeat the process. So I'm just catching the edge of the opening. Now it didn't quite catch it just there, but I can just release it. So now this is what I have. Excuse me. So I'm going to repeat this process on the other side like so. So 1, and you can do this with all 5 of the punches. You will just get a different decorative edge, and it can be any size. Okay, so pop that over there, so we can now turn this over for the front, and I've now got these 2 panels here. Now, if I wanted to, I could just have these as a lovely decorative strip down the edge of my card. So if I take a piece of paper, you can see you've got that lovely edge. Okay, so what I can do now is I can take my parchment, I can slide it underneath like so. Okay. See, and then I've now got a really nice frame. So in order to stop it moving, I can turn it over and I can put some glue, like a tape runner, down the side. Now, do you want to go that way? So it reminds me of more of a stage, or do you want to go to the side? Okay, so that's another way of using the corner punches, but not as a corner punch. Okay, pop that back in like so. So just as a reminder, these are the different decorative borders. So this was the one we've just been using, which is this one. So that's that one there. This one here is that one. The next one was the one that I used in the corner, is that one there. And this one, this is like the Batman, although like this, it looks like a little crown. Okay, there. And then the final one is this one, which is like a scallop. And the piece that falls away, if you do it as a continual strip, the piece that falls away, this bit here, is also a decorative piece as well. Okay, that wasn't too bad, was it? So that's 2. I've got 4 more to go. I reckon we can do this. Doesn't matter if we run over a little bit, does it? Right, number 2, that was the corner punches. So let me pop that to one side. That goes over there. Everybody all right? I'm sure everybody is having a fun time in the chat. Right, that goes into the bin. Put the right lid on the craft knife. Right lid on number 1 tool. Right. Another easy way is wrap around. Okay. So number 3, wrap around. For this, I've got my card blank. So what I've done, I've gone for sort of like craft cards so that you can see on the black mat. Now I have a piece of card, for example, that measures 4.5 by 4.5 inches. And then I've got my piece of artwork that is 4.5 inches deep, but it's longer. Okay. Now what I need to start off with is, which one did I put this in? Hang on. I need something to do a straight line with. I know I have it. There it is. Okay. Come along, play nicely. So I'm just going to use my nested square from the starter kit. And I need a nice straight line. So if I take that up to the edge of the plate, for example, so we'll just line that up. And I just need a nice straight line. So where's the number 1 tool? Let's just go with this one here. Okay, that gives me a nice crisp white line. So then what one do we go for on here? Because I need to trim this down. So that was using the second one in. That one, think about, shouldn't have measured this before, shouldn't I? But it just shows. All right, so that is that second one in there. That goes there. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna, doesn't matter if this side's wider than the other. So second one in. Trim, I think that's gonna fit. Okay. I should have done that. Right, I'm gonna do this. Do that, like that. Now do my straight line. Measure the space first. Okay. And then all I'm gonna do is trim off a little bit of the excess. So really I should have done this at 5.5 inches. Right, that goes back over there. So now I'm going to take my Pergamano ruler. Maybe when we tuned in last week and I was assembling the boxes in parchment, use the ruler to tease your parchment like so. Then this one here, it just helps with the flow. Okay, so now I'm going to take my trusty tape runner and I'm going to go down one edge of the parchment. I'm going to bring that in like so, bring that over just like that, then down the edge of the card here, bring that over like so, turn it over and attach your card. So it's coming on this one. So now I can attach that with no glue showing. Okay. Okay, so a question from Horsey Gal. For the corner punches, if you remove the corner guard from multiple punches, does the corner guard fit any or only the punch it comes from? I think it'll fit on any. Let's have a look. If I take this one, I'm going to take this one. Good question. I hadn't even considered that. I've taken that one off. I'm going to put that one here. I'm going to take this one off. I think they've all, oh no, I haven't emptied that one. I'm going to put that one back on there before it goes everywhere. Yes, they all, you can mix and match the bases because they're all the same. Okay, so that's number 3, okay, on how to attach your parchment to your work. Okay, so that was another easy one. Here we go. Now, number 4. We're certainly rolling through them. I'm not going to speak too soon though. So number 4. Okay, so this one is a traditional way of attaching your parchment to your card blank, and it is stitching on the spine of your card. Okay, now on the Clarity website, there is a download from Linda Williams on how to sew a card at the spine. Okay, and if I just bring up the, I'll show you exactly where it is on our website. Okay, whoops, wrong button. All right, let's go. Don't want that, don't want that. Go back to here. Wait for the website to load. Clarity Crafts home. Okay. Right, we'll just wait for that to load. So there are instructions that you can download. So apparently, message from Jane via Mr. Kilminster. Ken says that if people use the bat signal punch, will I come running in my cape? Well, no. Unless it's chocolate, then I may consider it. Okay, so if you go to the Clarity website, and on the front, if you go to this little area up here, not that one, that says inspiration, go back, goes to inspiration, and then you get a little drop down menu. And in there it says templates and downloads. If you click on the templates and downloads, like so, there's lots of very useful templates and downloads. So Linda's Christmas Angel instructions, so maybe you've misplaced that. The felt stitch ruler, the number 2 guide, there. How to sew a card at the spine. Tina's embroidery groovy plates, maybe you've got some of those and you've lost your instructions. Patterns for the finger, it's a wrap, inspiration sheets. So there's, oh, here we go. What's this one? Christmas tree inspiration tree. What's this one? Didn't even know this was, oh no, that's the other Christmas tree, isn't it? That's Linda's Christmas tree. That's this one. That's the flat one. Okay, but if I go back to when it decides to load, if I go back to how to sew a card, not that one, how to sew a card, back, come on, download, there we go. And I've got my then the instructions that I can download, written by the lovely Linda Williams. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Pop that down there. So I've got my instructions from Linda Williams. Now this one here, I've already done it, and what I've done is I've done it in black so that you can see. Just let it focus, hopefully. There you go. I've done it in black thread so that you can see it. Okay, but you would use, you could use one of our lovely metallic threads, or you could use an invisible thread, and it gets attached on the inside of the card, and then obviously I've left that loose just so you can see. Again, you've got the wrap around the back. Now this could be a whole piece. So I'm going to follow the instructions from Linda. So I've got my scissors. Let's put those over there. So I've got my card blank, like so, which is pre-scored. Then I've got my piece of parchment. So this has got my finished piece. And what I've done, I've just marked a little pencil mark of where I want to score my line, because I need to bring my groovy plate in again, so I can score a straight line, like so. So let's bring that over, line that up, just like so. Because you definitely need to have sort of like a nice crisp line. Okay, so this is going to be the back, this is the front, this is my artwork. I'm going to take my super foam. Have I used the super? Yeah, I did use the super foam. Where did I put that? Put it somewhere safe. There we go. Over there. So I need my super foam underneath, like so. I'm going to line up that line with the fold on the card. Now what I've done, I've taken, well, I haven't taken, I've got some groovy tabs to hold my parchment in place whilst I'm doing this part. Okay, so if I come, let me do it this way. Okay, so you can see. So this is the front of my card. This is the fold. And then what I've done, I created a little template. I mean, Linda gives you the instructions. You need to find the middle of your piece of artwork, and you're going to perforate. And then she does a couple of centimeters either side. But what I did, whatever size this piece of parchment was, I had a scrap the same size, folded it in half, like so, and then folded it in on itself to give me my little lines. So now I'm going to take my 1 needle bold, and I'm going to perforate in the center through my parchment and my card, and we're doing this from the front. Then I'm going to perforate there on that second mark, and then finally on that one there. Okay, so I've used the bold. You can use fine, and I would suggest that you use either an invisible thread, or you could use one of our lovely metallic threads that we have on the website. Okay, I've gone for the felt needles only because I wanted to use this thick black thread so you could see what I was doing. But you could use the embroidery needles that we have if you're going to go for the metallic thread. So according to Linda's instruction, okay, if I bring this in, we're going to come up in that middle hole from the inside of our card. So I'm going to come through from the inside, like so. I'm just going to take my little Groovi tab just to hold it in place. So we've come up through the middle. Okay. Then we're going to go down into number 2, like so. Okay. And then we're going to come up in number 3. So when we turn it over, it's the one furthest away from the one that you've just gone down into. Then, so we've done this one, then we're going to go from here back into the middle. Okay. That one's going to go into there, like so. Okay, so you've got that nice thing. And then what you do, as per Linda's instruction, is you then just tie this into a little knot. All fingers and thumbs. Okay. Okay. 1. And because you've gone through the card and the parchment, then as you really pull it, you're not going to rip the holes. Okay. I'm going to take my little scissors and just tidy up on the inside, like so. Put your needle somewhere safe. Okay. And pop that back into there, because I think I need that again in a minute. Okay. So now put our instructions to one side. Then we take our card. Before you fold it, remove your Groovi tabs so that there's some movement in your parchment when you fold, like so. Fold your card over, press down, and you've now got your attached down the spine. Okay, so that's, what's this? This is number 4. So this is the 4th way in which you can attach your parchment to your card. Okay, excuse me. Number 4. Okay, so if you like stitching, how about stitching your whole piece of parchment to the card front? Okay, now there's a couple of ways of doing that. The lovely Tina Cox designed a number of embroidery plates. Okay, and you can create lovely decorative corners. If you I've just remembered, if you picot cut a piece of card, it acts a little bit like Spirelli and you can wrap it around that way. But I wanted to show you how to use our stitch ruler. Okay, so we designed the stitch ruler to work alongside our Felt by Clarity range. So let's have a look, let's bring these in. So these are our stitch rulers. So you've got your number 1 and you've got your number 2. So number 2 is a little bit more decorative in design. Okay, I'm going to go for the number 1. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a couple of different things. So this one here, let's just take that off. If I bring this in on this one. So again, I've used the black thread just so that you can see how it looks. Okay, but imagine doing that in maybe a lovely gold or a lovely red, maybe to sort of tie in with the colors of your project. Okay, then what I've done, I've used it as a decorative corner. So my parchment would slide out just like the photo corners, and then it slides back in underneath. Okay, that hasn't tied up Okay, but I'm going to show you how to do this one. Okay, so I need some super foam underneath. I'm going to stick with the stitch ruler number 1. And what I have here is a piece of card measuring 4.5 inches square, and my parchment is 4 inches. I've used some Groovi tabs. It's coming on this one. I'm going to zoom in a little bit now on the overhead. I've used some Groovi tabs to attach my parchment to my card whilst I work. Now I've already attached this one up here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to remove this Groovi tab here because I'm going to come down this side. I'll reposition that over here so it doesn't move. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I've used the cross stitch, the 6mm cross stitch. You've got a zigzag, and then you've got sort of like normal stitching ones, a 5mm, a 4mm, and a 3mm. I'm going to go with the 6mm cross stitch, and I don't know if you can see yeah, you can. You've got this central line running all the way through. This central line I'm going to line up with the edge of my parchment. So for example, what I did was I lined that up like so, and it was just by chance that, see, this hole here and this hole here is right at the edge of the parchment. Okay, so then I'm going to turn this round, I'm going to line that up and position that along the line. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 1 needle bold and I'm going to perforate. I'm going to ignore the first one, like so, and I'm going to perforate top and bottom, just like so. So I haven't got to count, haven't got to work out my spacing. Definitely need the super foam underneath. Okay. Let me just work. So this, you can extend this for as long as it needs to be. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So now I've got my perforations in a complete row. For ease, I'm going to stick with the large needle and that black thread again. I don't know who thread is, but the black thread. And all I'm going to do now, if I turn this over, I'm going to come in at the back like so. I will pull that through, probably a little bit too long. And just to stop it so that it doesn't go anywhere, I'm just going to take a Groovi tab and hold it in place. Okay. There we go. So now, depending, you can do various different stitches with some holes like this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that same cross effect. So I'm going to come over there, like so. So I'm going at a diagonal. Now I'm going to come in from the back, come out in the next one, pull it through. So what I'm doing now is I'm going in at an angle. Whoops, the thread's too long, you'll keep catching it. So I'm going to shorten this thread. We just hang about. Let me just put it through on the needle a bit more. And on the back, all I'm doing, it creates, see how it's created that straight line? You could do this on the front as well. Okay, and this doesn't have to be parchment. This could be a piece of card that you want to attach to a piece of card. Okay, and then all of that. So when you look at that stitch ruler, there's some lovely different stitches on there that you can use. And if you're going with the metallic threads, it'll be easier to pull through, because what I'm doing, I'm using the larger needle. I mean, the eye of the needle goes through, but the embroidery needles would go through a lot more easily. And it doesn't help that I'm doing it at an angle either, so we can sort of see everyone at home. Okay, so if you want, you could just do this. You don't have to do the whole length of the design. Okay, so you could do that. See, that's quite a nice pattern. And then in order to create the cross stitch coming back, then all I'm going to do is go back at that top one and then cross back over. You could do this in different color thread. See, and now you're starting to create that cross effect. Okay. You could have a smaller cross. So for example, you could take, so I kept it nice and easy. I went with this one because there's holes either side, but you could go for this line, do that row, then turn the ruler that way, line it back up and do that row as well. Or maybe this one here, this gives sort of like a zigzag effect. Maybe you want to do that one. If you do the zigzag, you can also go back on it to create that cross effect as well. But once you sort of, you get into the rhythm of doing this, it doesn't take long. Okay. And for me, it's just another way of adding a finishing touch to your artwork. Okay. So we've had a look at the brads, which is the quickest and easiest way. We've also had a look at the corner punches and using the corner punches as a border. And then, well, where do we go after that? I forgot where we went after that. Then we did the wraparound. Then we looked at the traditional way of stitching down the spine. Now we've used the felt ruler to create the effect along there. Okay, so you can see when you look at the ruler, and the other one has lovely sort of decorative patterns. You could just use something in the corner. You could use, look, the little heart chain. You could use this, the little star stitch as well. There's so many different ways that you can use it, or you can just go for Tina's embroidery plates. Now they're not perforated. You have to emboss and then, but it's still doable. Okay, so that was number 5. Yes, that was number 5. Okay, so another quick and easy way of doing it, he says, a quick slurp of coffee, is using and nested dies. Okay, so we do lots of different shapes. We've got the squares, we've got circles, we've got rectangles, we've got ovals, hexagons, hearts, and the arches as well. And what we can do, we can either create a frame or we can create an aperture. So for example, I created little frames. So if I just show you, okay, I did a circle one and I did a square one. So I've got my, let me zoom out now. Zoom out a little bit there. Okay, so I've got my card blank. I've got my piece of companion paper, which is going to sit on top. I've got my finished piece of parchment. So as we said before, you could use your brads if you wanted to, but if you create an aperture, then what you can do is when you turn it over, so if I turn this over, this is the back of the piece of card now, I can take my tape runner just along the edges, like so. Okay. Then, because I can see through, there is some time for you to reposition if you need to. Okay, that goes on the back there. Then that, I'm just going to put some tape there, goes onto my companion paper, like so. And then finally, tape runner, like so. Then this goes onto our card blank, and you can't see any joins. I mean, if you're into your stamping, you could, or I tell you what, you could stitch if you want to. If you really, really love stitching, what about taking one of these and just stitching into the corner of your card before you attach it all together? So that's 6 different ways, and I'm sure there's many other ways of doing it. I know one of the other ways, if you're doing white work, then you can use itsy bitsy tiny dabs of perga glue to attach behind that area so it doesn't show. But for me, I thought it would be quite interesting to end the year, because I know we've had many new friends join us throughout the year, and sometimes I automatically think, oh, everyone knows how to put it onto a card and everything else. And so I thought, because there are different ways of doing it, and each person has different ways of doing it. For me, the quick and easy way is brads. Okay, but maybe you want to look at different ways of doing it. Maybe you want to finish off. Maybe you're not so confident with your brads. James just sent me a text saying Christmas tree ? I don't know what that means. Christmas tree. I haven't got a Christmas tree. Oh, you mean that Christmas tree over there? Okay. I couldn't find. Right. Okay. Right. That was for when I finish and I go back. I know what that means now. Thank you very much for your company. If you've only recently found us, welcome. We will be back in the new year. I will be back on Tuesday, the 7th of January. Thank you to all the lovely design team, always there to help and support, and with their fantastic artwork. And obviously all the people here behind the scenes, Sue on the phones when she's not giggling. I can hear you giggling, Sue. And obviously it's all about the Clarity family, just not only in the building, but worldwide. And hopefully you picked up something today on different ways of attaching it. I will put this video against the various different products as well. And really, I've run over a little bit. Thank you so much for your company. I hope you all have a wonderful, safe and peaceful Christmas and New Year. Don't forget, Barb will be doing a special Christmas Day shack at 10 AM. So I hope you can tune in there. So if you can't, don't worry. You can always go back and watch afterwards. Like everything is available on our Clarity YouTube page that you can go back and watch at your own comfort and ease. Maybe you've got those corner punches and you think, what did he do? You can pause, you can fast forward, you can stop. And as the design team says, Clarity worldwide, Groovi worldwide. There's always someone there to help. And don't ever think that a question is a silly question. Well, not all. If you're not sure, maybe somebody else isn't sure either, and they're just a little bit too shy to ask that question. So enjoy the festive period. I'll be back with you. We're back on Sunday the 5th of January, first Sunday of the month, first Sunday of 2025, and there is a fantastic product launch on that particular Sunday. I'm not saying any more. You'll have to come and find Barb and myself at 3 o'clock on Sunday the 5th of January. The Shack is back on Monday the 6th at 10 o'clock, and I'll be back with Groovi Tuesday at 7, not at 7, on the 7th of January at 10 a.m. And we're going to continue using Jazz's Rosie Sampler A4 Groovi plate. So I will see you all next year. Take care now. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.